Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show, the podcast. Episode 2, a lot of episodes. This will be the last episode for a few weeks. And by a few weeks, probably a month. You guys know that this is the weekly MLB The Show podcast every single Tuesday. But I'm moving. And I know I've said that a lot in content uploads in the last week or so. But not everybody comes to see every video, so I just want to reinforce the fact. Content is taking a break, but content will be back once my new office is set up in my new house. Short-form content on TikTok and Instagram and stuff, still going to be a thing. I could do that, but this setup ain't going to be here. Well, it will be a little bit, but whatever. You guys know what I'm getting at. But today, I figured, because I am taking a little bit of a long-form break, it's a good time to talk about the state of MLB The Show 25. Because you guys might not hear from me as much. We are in September. The playoff races are heating up. Content in MLB The Show 25 is at a peak. That doesn't mean there aren't issues with it. But the content has been steadily rolling. If you really want to take it back, ever since that stupid program that we all got mad at them about. Was it the Pipeline Past program? It's easier to search for the collections. Let's just do this as a team real quick, and then we'll get going. Yeah, collections. What am I doing? We go here. It was, the Pipeline Past program. Ever since this abomination of a program, content has been trending upward. And we've been kind of cooking. I mean, you've got so many cards you could use at every single position on the field, all of which are competent. You know, the overwhelming meta of switch hitters is still a thing, and it's worse than it's ever been. That's a separate issue for a separate day, but I suppose that does get taken into account for state of the game. I think I want to use this time, though, and this is not going to be an incredibly long episode of the podcast, to talk about the negatives I'm still seeing. And everybody is going to have, to some degree, different experiences with the things I'm about to mention. So I would love to hear from you, as I always do. The comment sections are always popping and giving your perspectives in there. Let me know, as I'm saying these things, if there's anything that comes up that you have an opinion on, if you agree, disagree, maybe something I'm about to talk about you've never even experienced yet. And I mean, I'd love to know that. You know, the switch hitter meta we talk about, this is my God squad. I use switch hitters too. I think you kind of have to based on how the online gameplay works, but I've found cards that I like that are same-handed. Fernando Tatis, or one-handed. Fernando Tatis, Lou Gehrig, he's incredible. Bryce Terang, Kyle Schwarber, Ted Williams. Fun fact, on Friday, you will see the last upload for a little bit, but you will see I went into ranked using 0 switch hitters to prove to you that it can be done. And we had a fun time. But the things that I want to talk about really have nothing to do with that. It has more to do with some of the nagging stupidity that still exists. Like, for example, I'm hovering over Ted Williams right now. This is his 99 collection card. The spinny wheel does not reflect at all what Ted Williams is. I think it reflects his lower overall card. It is, at time of recording, September 8th. The game has been out March to April, May, June, July, August. 6 months. Still not fixed. Still not fixed. The other thing on the lineup that is still not fixed is occasionally you will try to load your lineup screen and it will entirely freeze. So you have to back out of the game to get back in. I mean, 2 really remedial level bugs in this game that still are not fixed 6 months in. Honestly, pretty unfortunate, pretty disappointing. They don't actually impact the game. The game still operates. Ted Williams doesn't actually have those attributes when you open a game up. But it's really beside the point. Like, I don't know if these bugs are, like, underlying code in much more important code, so they don't want to mess with the more important code and they're okay with leaving this? I don't know, but it's never even been mentioned. And these are such small things, right? Like, these things do not make or break a game. They add a little bit of annoyance now and then. I don't need to look at the spin wheel to know this Ted Williams is remarkable. And if I'm ever trying to compare stats, I will pull up the card in this view, 1-to-1, so I can see the comparison. That, that's how I operate it. You might not. It's okay. But the fact that those two things still exist is really bad. Second thing I want to talk about, and this is going to feel like a little bit of a ramble episode, but that's okay. That's what these state of the games should be. We've talked about this a million times. Events and Battle Royale are a hellhole. They serve next to no purpose. The multiplayer program effectively killed the success of those modes individually. It killed the ecosystems of Battle Royale and events. Battle Royale, I feel like maybe they've almost even admitted that there's no point to it anymore. The rewards were bad. Nobody was playing it, so they're just putting chase packs in them now. I do have a 2-0 run going currently because I have Jorge Posada and Lou Gehrig, and I don't want to waste being able to have both those guys on the same team. I've yet to go flawless this year. Probably partly a skill issue. Also, connections in 3-inning modes online are demonstratively worse than in 9-inning game modes, and I can't explain why. In 2023, MLB The Show 23, I went flawless over 20 times. Last year, a handful of times. The year before, 22, I was like 8 or 9 or 10. I'm fully capable of going flawless. Maybe I'm going into Unk mode now because I'm getting older. But I find it hard to believe you can go from 20 plus to 0. Now, I've played Battle Royale a lot less because it is pointless, as I've established. But it's just very unhappy that this game lacks meaningful 3-inning online modes. I think one of the great successes of good MLB The Show titles is the viability of 3-inning game modes. Sometimes people don't have the time to jump on and play a ranked game. They've got 30 minutes but want to play online, they can go play 2 event games. Now, technically, no one's stopping you from doing that now. But you're not achieving anything. You know, they did finally bring back this win path. I appreciate it. I think it's long overdue. It took 6 months almost to get it there. But Events has lost its luster with its own reward path, with an event reward card. I just think more care needs to be given to the 3-inning community. Also, some people just don't like ranked, and that's okay. But they don't have much else in Diamond Dynasty if they don't like ranked and they don't want to play Conquest or Diamond Quest. And that's not a slight to Conquest or Diamond Quest. That's just a fact. So something's got to be done. We need to show more love to one or both of these modes next year. The next thing to talk about is gameplay. So I talked about gameplay in mentioning the connections in BR and events being so much worse than ranked. The gameplay this year is super inconsistent. When it plays well, it is fun, it is crispy, everything is working great. You're getting rewarded, your opponent's getting rewarded, your pitches are going where you want. But PCI shrinkage is really, really dumb. The fact that it only is on certain types of pitches to same-handed batters. They say it's an intended mechanic, but provide really no reason why. You know, RNG is already a spin the wheel type of situation, but I feel like there's more RNG this year, than there's ever been. And a lot of this is going to be personal experience playing the game. It may not feel the same for you, and that's fine. I'm just telling you where I'm coming from. For reference point, I'm 75-25 in ranked. I am always in Hall of Fame. I don't play at the highest level. I don't like playing on Legend, and I don't think I'd be that good on it anyway. Hall of Fame for me is my sweet spot of online play. So that's where my vantage point is coming from. Um, where was I? The gameplay. You know, there are too many line drive outs. Outfielders cover way too much ground. The pitcher wall is still a thing. I mean, we can keep going on this. Stealing bases is, you know, I don't know. Sometimes I find I'm telling my guy to steal and he ain't moving. That's the least of my concerns with gameplay. You know, feeling like, or I mean, the feedback window telling you hit a ball well and then it being less than 100 off the bat, or it just dying in the outfield. Gameplay needs a tuning. And I do truly think, we talked about this actually yesterday in the 10-minute mailbag, the fact that every line drive is caught makes it actually feel like the games are a home run derby, because those are the only hits that get down. Home runs. I'm not playing ranked for a home run derby. I'm playing ranked to, like, kind of play a 9-inning baseball game. And listen, I'm not saying it's not still fantasy. It's very much still fantasy. But, you know, I wouldn't mind scoring on a couple singles and a double. I don't want to have to hit the ball over the fence every time. I'll manufacture a couple of runs. I'm fine with that. But this game is not conducive to manufacturing runs. It's only conducive to nuking the ball over the chain link fence. So gameplay, not great. And then gameplay at the plate, not great. Gameplay on the mound is worse. Too many foul balls. Way too many foul balls. Put the balls in play. It's it. It is ridiculous. At some point, there has to be a penalty for swinging at a pitch that bounces in the dirt. It's not a foul ball. I'd love to see how many times that happens over the course of a big league season. And again, it's not reality, it's fantasy, I get it. But some things should still make a little bit of sense. The par region, I hate it. I think it's dumb. The par region should be your margin of error for if you make a bad pitch. If you make a perfect pitch, your margin of error should be a lot smaller than that par region. I'm pretty frustrated with how often perfect releases on pinpoint are not close to where I wanted them to be, because the par region takes up half the strike zone, or a quarter of the strike zone in most cases on Hall of Fame. Pitching's tough this year. Relievers this year, especially recently, they get throttled. You put them in the game, they get hosed. Skill issue entirely. I'm admitting it. I get it. You guys are going to flame me in the comments. It's fine. I consider myself a good pitcher, because I am. I am getting shelled with really good relievers. Darren O'Day, he should be awesome. He should be great. His first card this year was great. In 6 1/3 innings, I have a 14 ERA and a 2.05 whip. Can't get a guy out. Billy Wagner should be good. He's theoretically the best lefty in the game. In 18 innings, 6.3 ERA. He does have 30 strikeouts. I'll make that concession. 30 strikeouts in 18 innings is very good. Let's keep going. Let's go down the list. Hurston Waldrop, I was loving him, doing great. 13 innings, 6.2 ERA. Now, for me, that is an astronomical ERA. If I'm bringing in a reliever, it's because I need to know he's going to get outs. There should be zero possibility that I feel flustered using a reliever. Some people who play high-level Legend, a 6 ERA is low. That's another reason I don't like Legend. It's a Looney Tune factory. But for me on Hall of Fame, I'm not doing it. This Chapman, he's been batting practice. 5 innings, 6.75 ERA. Like, we could just... Andrew Miller, who I was great with his first card. 10 2/3, 5 ERA. It's nuts. So every reliever I bring in seems to be horseshit. I would like to see relievers start to get more of a bump. It's time for them to catch up a little bit. I don't want them to overpower the situation either. You know, at first, at the beginning of the year, pitchers were dominating. The offensive power creep was slow. Pitcher power creep was faster. Then we finally reached a point where it was level for about 27 hours. Then hitting went here and pitching stayed. At least relieving. The starters have been good. It's time to just bring us back. Recalibrate us just a little bit. I need like a day off program. What does that mean? When bullpens have a day off, they refresh. So I want a day off program where we can refresh our bullpens and just get all relievers. Put all relievers into a program, and we can start cooking. I know when Finest comes out in November, we'll get a bunch of relievers. Same thing for postseason stuff. I'd like some now. I think the very last thing to talk about state of the game, and really this has turned into State of Diamond Dynasty as it typically is on this channel. There are a lot of collections, man. A lot of friggin' collections. And again, ever since the pipeline program, the collections have become more attainable. There's still a lot of them. They're very frequent. And they go hand in hand with how many chase cards there are. Including the most recent chase card, who is remarkable. But he is still 500,000 stubs. I bought him. Chipper Jones is great. This card is insane. This card is really insane. But yeah, it's just a lot of gatekeeping content behind paywalls. Stub paywalls. But Kenny, it's so easy to make stubs. Yeah, for you it is. And for me it is, because I play this game a lot and I have a decent skill level. I'm not concerned with you and I. It's about more than us, and I don't get why people can't grasp that in their thick heads. The people who are good at the game, or the people who play the game a lot, or like me, only play this game. It's not about us. It's about a casual player who doesn't want to feel buried behind a game. It's about someone who's not good at the game. It's about someone with a family who can only play a couple hours a week at most, and they fall behind. I empathize with those people because I want them to enjoy all the fun content too. I'm not saying hand out every card. I still think there need to be grinds. All I'm saying is let's ease up on the total number of collections. Let's slow our roll with chase cards. Just a little. Just take a notch back. Just recalibrate us back a little bit. So we can create a less predatory ecosystem. MLB The Show is still, truly, the best game, the best ultimate team mode, let's say that, among sports games. It still is. It is still the most no money spent friendly. As I said at the very top of the episode, there are so many cards to use at so many different positions. But by gatekeeping so much the way it is currently, you run the risk of putting off some of your player base. And instead of incentivizing them to grind harder to get the thing they want, they'll feel like they're falling so far behind by not having so many collections done that they'll just stop playing. And they'll go play 2K, which is out now. They'll go play Madden, which is out now. MLB The Show player base falls off a cliff for a multitude of reasons. It's not as big as Madden. It's not as big as 2K. But recognizing that drop-off is going to come every year, they should do more sooner to keep people engaged. I do think the power creep partially helps with that. I do feel like this game has lasted longer than its last two iterations because sets and seasons ended up not working. The interest lasted longer, for sure, this year. But I think we now need to find the happy medium of collections. Of course, it's a card collecting mode. Get it. 100%. And when in real life card collecting, there are chase cards and parallel cards and one-of-ones. And like, yes, there is a exclusivity to card collecting. But I do think we should also make these things more accessible. Because more people having something is not a bad thing. This is a whole layered conversation that people who don't understand nuance will never get. Skill locking things is one thing. I'm totally fine with a skill lock. Put the best rewards behind skill-based achievements, And then 2, 3, 4 weeks after that skill-based period ends, put those cards into the ecosystem. They tried to do that a little bit this year, but the World Series and BR rewards mostly stunk. I do not like a hard paywall system like this. If you play the game a lot and you're good at the game, you have the stubs, it's not your worry. I'm not talking about you. It's not about you. It's just not. It's about everybody else. This game is better when there's more people on it. And more people competitive, and more people interested in playing. I don't know why that's hard for people to understand, but people have the brains of 3-year-olds, so maybe that's why. So, in closing here, in the last podcast episode for a few weeks, the state of the game is better than it was last September. The state of the game, despite all that I said, I think we're in a decent spot. There are strategy decisions that need to be made for MLB The Show 26 that I hope they address in terms of collections and chase cards and better World Series and BR rewards. The multiplayer program we got to talk about. The abundance of switch hitters. We got to come up with a better cadence for how we're dropping certain types of players. Spread out these switch hitters so it never feels like there's too many of them. Though I suppose when we get to the 99s, it's going to be unavoidable. But at least give me a few months of not having it. You know, we talked to gameplay. I don't know how much gameplay is ever going to change because it seems like they don't want to create new engines and game codes. And I'm not a game designer, game developer. I cannot speak to how difficult it is to code these things. I would imagine it's remarkably difficult. So I'm not going to necessarily criticize that. But MLB The Show has kept me engaged. And again, I play this game almost exclusively, but last year I had very little desire to play this game at a certain point. That's not how I feel right now. I still feel like I want to log in and play. The weekend classics helped. It had some hiccups, but that's helped. The cards have been mostly pretty fun. But that's where I'm at with MLB The Show 25 right now in the first week of September. You guys know that at the end of every game cycle, that's when I actually do my game review. I always give first thoughts in like the first couple weeks of a game, but I don't actually review the game until the end of the year because we need to holistically look back and talk about it. So I will for sure still be doing that in like January or February of next year. But I will be back just in time for postseason in real life, not the content. The content usually is like a week or so behind, but I'll be back. I'll have a sick new office. I'm excited to share it with you all. So thank you for listening to my state of the game as of this moment. I'm very open to hearing your conversations and opinions on this, listening to you complain about things I said. But that's okay. Because everybody's opinion matters, unless you're mean, and then it doesn't. So, thank you guys. Love you guys. See you next time.